Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be taking a message from the universe or the podcasting gods or what. But OMG, this has been quite the week. So, as you can see, my beautiful background is clearly not working. So, it was just working 5 minutes ago, and it is no longer working. So, if you're listening to this in the audio version, welcome to the Friendly Show. You do not actually care about the background because you can't see it because you're just listening to me. So I will move on. I'm also realizing that last night when I did the podcast, it was actually not streaming to my Facebook group, even though right now it says it is streaming to the Facebook group. So I'm not sure what is going on with any of this. I really thought that, doing a podcast for 3 years was going to be I thought it was going to be really good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So apparently, okay. Please, if you are watching this, please just bear with me for a moment. I don't know where you would be watching this from because it's apparently telling me that Facebook is not connecting for some reason, even though all of the things were connected originally. So now I'm muted. Okay. So now, can everybody hear me? Because now I can see the comments coming through. Oy vey. If just somebody, one of the Facebook users could just say, yes, I can hear you. Now I do. Okay, thank you. So can you see a background? Is that just in my studio or can you just see green? I don't know. Anywho, yes, you can see a background or you just see green. Is it green? I would love to know. Okay, so no background. Okay, so it's not working. Yippee skippy. Okay, so anyway, thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys are all here. And then I'm going to just do a little hi to the audio people just real quick, and then we are going to get into the show. So hello and welcome to the Friendly Show. Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be my favorite show of the week. We do at least 2 episodes every week, and the Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time are always going to be my favorite because that is complete audience participation. If you're listening to it in the audio version, you may not enjoy it thoroughly. You may want to go watch the replay in either YouTube, Facebook, or in LinkedIn, because what I do is I bring all of the comments right up to the screen, and then we just have a conversation together like we're sitting in my living room. So we are going to continue that, and we are going to talk about, let me just go there. We are going to talk about the episode that happened last night. Even if you did not watch it, that's okay. Or if you didn't listen to it, it is up on Google Podcasts and Spotify. But it doesn't matter. I just want to have a conversation about ADHD with you. Whether or not you have it, if you've been diagnosed, if you're undiagnosed, but you're pretty sure that you have it. If you know somebody that's had it. I really want to have just a good conversation here about kind of the symptoms, and really, I want to find out what works. So what works for you? Because I think that this group is going to be really good because anybody that's friends with me knows that I am like total judgment-free zone, and I want to make sure that this group is the same, that it is a complete judgment-free zone. So whatever you ask, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Who knows? Maybe there are, but it's probably something I'm thinking too. So I would like you to ask. And there's no judgment. We're all at different levels of living. Like, you know, you might be an expert in one area and then really like a newbie in another. And where you're a newbie, I might be, you know, a couple steps ahead of you. And where you're, you know, the expert, I'm probably a million steps behind you. And that's where I want to be friends with people that are all over in all the different things. So do you have ADHD? And actually, I'd like to know, did you listen to the podcast last night? Not to like say, Shane, why are you here? But did you get a chance to listen to it? What I am going to do from now on is I'm not going to have them that close. I think Monday to Wednesday is going to be good because then you have, you're going to have like Monday night, Tuesday to listen to it on the podcast, so on your walks or whatever, and then even Wednesday through the day. And so then you'll have a chance to at least look at it. Obviously, we had the tech issue on Monday, so we had to do it on Tuesday. But going forward, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do it on Monday or through the weekend, so you have time to listen to it before the Wednesday show. And no, don't say you're sorry. If you didn't listen to it, it's totally okay. Like, these conversations can be happening in a vacuum. Like, we can just have the conversation here as if we're out on a walk and it's like, hey, what do you think about this? You don't have to have any background on it. So I'll give you guys like a really quick synopsis of what I talked about yesterday. I talked about the difference between ADHD and ADD, which there's no difference. FYI, I did not know that. You might know that. ADD is actually just an outdated term. So ADHD is more representative of what people are feeling, and there's no significant difference between the ADD and the ADHD, so they just scrap the ADD. That's all it is. Also, and then everybody says, I did not listen yet. And you guys, it all says Facebook users. So if you can, I think you are maybe going to have to do it for every show. Up in the comment or up in the description, you can go and say and allow StreamYard to show your name. But for now, if you just want to kind of put, you know, dash Mel or dash Pam or dash Ed or dash Jenny or whoever you are that's watching. I'm just making guesses based on the last episodes. So anyway, so there's ADD and ADHD, both the same thing. The other thing that I thought was fascinating, I don't think they really do it with the slash, but basically it's a slash. It's attention deficit / hyperactive disorder. So you may have like attention deficit, or you may have hyperactive, like you might be hyperactive. Or you might have a combination of those two, and all three of those subsets are a form of ADHD. So that I found really, really fascinating. And that is why I think I always kind of questioned when people were like, hey, have you ever tested for ADHD? Because like people clearly saw it in me. And I was like, no, I think I'm okay. Like, no, because in my mind, I was like, I can sit in church and be quiet and be a good little girl. You know, I was like, I can go to a library. I'm very quiet if I go to, and I, in my mind, was like, I don't have that hyperactive, although all my friends are like, you speak so fast and you're always moving and always needing to do. I didn't relate that to ADHD, right? I just thought of the kids that were like bouncing off the walls, and I was like, I'm not at that extreme, so I don't think I have it. Where really I have a lot of the symptoms that are there. So that's why I now realize, after the research that I've done, that everybody was correct. I do have ADHD, diagnosed by all my friends and family. Okay, so we've got Ed's here, Elizabeth is here, boom, 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 awesome, awesome. Okay, so Ed says, I have ADHD. You do? See, that, I don't know why it surprises me with you. You're like, you always seem really focused. So is yours more of the hyperactive portion of it? Or do you just not have a good time focusing, and I'm just not realizing it because you have some tools under your sleeve that you're working with? Because that's what I want to do. So Ed says, my issue is compulsive. Okay. So that is part of it. And so I think that like they probably go hand in hand, which I have not done any research on this, that they probably go hand in hand with like addiction, because I have found that like my addiction, like I have an addiction to overthinking, which yes, that's an addiction. Like I'm trying to work through it, but I also have an addiction to food. Like I have a big problem with food. There is a big bag, 2 big bags, family-sized bags of chips from Costco in the house right now. And I probably have polished off half a bag of both, so a full bag of Costco-sized chips today. Mind you, I did it very delicately, just like one small bowl at a time. So I have a problem with it, but I think that is maybe potentially part of that I'm like hyper fixated on it, that I'm not even enjoying it anymore. I'm just like hyper fixated on the like finishing the bag, which is, I got to look into that. I don't know if that has anything to do with ADHD, but I feel like it may. And then Ed also says that he has focusing problems. Okay, so do we have any, like Ed, do you have any, there you go, I was going to say, do you have any tools that you use to help? And I'm guessing that this is from Ed. So meditation, breathing, grounding, music, journaling, and coffee helps me. Awesome. So any kind of music? Do you have a certain type of music? Because for me, I realized that my, like going on YouTube and getting binaural beats for focus, game changer for me. Once I learned that a couple of years ago. Once I learned that was like incredible, the amount of focus I've been able to do by listening to those, and especially when I listen to them with headphones. There's a difference for me anyway when I listen to headphones as opposed to when I'm listening to just like ambient music or sound. And then he also says coffee, which helps me, and that was one of the things that they said, it doesn't necessarily help everybody, but caffeine can help with focus issues. Okay, so let me go back here. So calming music, such as folk, indie, and acoustic. Yes, I've been finding that too, that if I'm trying to listen to music, the indie is kind of where I'm headed a lot more, and I'm liking the acoustic because if new songs come up that I don't know the lyrics to, if it's like a song from the 90s, then if I'm not starting to dance, then I can pretty much stay focused because I know the words, so it's kind of just like, it's just white noise in back of me. But if it's a new song with new lyrics and I haven't heard them before, then I'll find that I'm like, instead of focusing, no matter how calm it is, I'll be like listening for the lyrics. So it needs to be, for me anyway, it has to be something that I'm used to, that I don't have to like tune into, if that makes sense. And then the meditation and journaling. I'll say also the grounding really, really helps. I think I have to start doing exercises for grounding, because I'm really glad that you're bringing that up, because I haven't been grounding like the way that I do in the summer and the spring and even the fall with like barefoot in the grass. I haven't been doing that for the last couple of months because of the snow. And really that's just an excuse, because there's actually no reason why I can't go out there. I'm not going to go out there for an hour, but I could go out there for a few minutes and just like ground. And I think I'll bring that back. So Ed, thank you so much for bringing that up. But how often do you do that? The meditation, the journaling, all of the things. Do you have like a routine that you do? Or is it kind of like you can feel things bubbling up, or you have a hard time focusing and you just use those to kind of get you back so you can focus? I'm just curious. Ed says, I play music in the background. It also helps my focusing. Absolutely. The binaural beats, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's been magic for me for focus. Also, I think I've mentioned it before, but when I listen to binaural beats for sleep and for deep sleep, my sleep numbers are actually way better. Like the percentage, where it's like they'll give you a rating out of 100, they're always higher when I listen to that music. Even if I've slept less time, they're better when I listen to the music. So it actually does work. Ed also says grounding I need to do hourly. Okay, so So for right now, this looks like it's going to be a conversation between Ed and I, which is totally fine. But I do see that there's a few of you guys that are listening. So I would love to know what your experience is with ADHD. Even if you don't have it, do you know people that have it? And what I would like to know is, if you don't have it, how is it to see somebody or to live with somebody or to, be at work with somebody that you know has ADHD? How does that come up for you? I'd love to know that too, because it's really interesting to me. I just think of like Mike, and now like I think about like my parents and my sister. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't put myself in their shoes to see what it feels like to like deal with somebody that's like all over the place sometimes. So Ed, getting back to you about the grounding that you do hourly, do you do a meditation to ground you, or like a visualization, or do you go barefoot every hour? I know that you probably don't. That'd be interesting if you did, but so let's see. So Ed says, I use my wedding ring in my pocket or a smooth stone to keep me grounded. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So I have heard of that. I've never used that. So does that like, it's just because you're able to like touch something, it kind of brings you back? Or is there a visualization thing that you do? Elizabeth says, I don't think I have it, but for work, I get distracted and find that giving myself a certain time to get a project done will help me stay focused. Amazing, woman. Absolutely amazing. That is really, really good advice. So 2 things on that. There is, and you guys, if I repeat myself, just let me know, but this will be good for like people that are just coming into the show. These 2 tips I give to just about everybody that I can, because I think that they're so good. So one is the Pomodoro technique. We talked about it on the show last night, but I'll talk about it really quickly again now. And there's apps that you can do, or you can just set up your alarms, but I find the app to be a lot easier. And that's actually only giving yourself 25 minutes to work on a project. Now, if you need, like, let's say you need 2 hours to finish a project, doing the Pomodoro technique is really handy, because what you'll do is if you're using the app, it'll automatically set these times, and it'll be 25 minutes of solid work. So if an email comes in, if, a kid comes into the room, whatever it is, you say, I'm working, I'll be done in, you can look at the timer. It says it in your browser. You can be like, I have 17 minutes, I'll be with you. And you just focus on your work. No emails, no phone calls, no nothing. And it's really easy once you get used to it, because it's like, if you were in a client meeting, you wouldn't pick up the phone anyway. So 25 minutes is very easy to commit to. So you do 25 minutes, then once that's done, an alarm will go, and then you'll get a 5-minute break. When you do the 5-minute break, you don't do similar activity to what you've already done. So if you're working on the computer on a project, you don't then go and like search on Instagram, right? Like, you get away from there and maybe go do exercise or go stretch or go do something else for 5 minutes. You do that 3 times, 25, 5, 25, 5, 25, 5. And then you do another 25, and then you take a 15 or 20 minute break. And so that could be like a snack or a lunch or whatever, nap, 20-minute cat nap, whatever you want it to be. And in those 25 minutes, you're so hyper-focused on what you're doing that you get more done than if you were to spend an hour with no breaks. So that is, I'm with you on that. And then the other thing is, the reason why setting yourself a time and kind of making it like gamifying it, because that's what I do, is that if you know that like, okay, if I know that I have all day to do something, guess what? It's going to take me all day to do the thing. If I know that I have to, like, for instance, we're doing the YQG Green, and we're doing in March is going to be Earth Day, right? And so we're doing I was just talking to Mom about it today. We're going to be heading up the tree planting. So now I technically don't have I have until March to get a team together, to get, everything organized for us to be able to have this tree planting. However, if I know that I don't have to have this done until March, it'll take me until March, even if I keep thinking about it, to get it done. But I set myself a due date that I want by February 15th to have all of the invites out and everything out. And so now it'll take me between now and February 15th to get that all done. If I put it that I want it all done by, January 26th, it also would only take me from now until January 26th to get done. So that's part of Parkinson's law. I think what it is your task will take however much time it has to fill in order to finish it. So that's why, like, when we go on vacation at work, that last day, we have accomplished more that Friday before we go for a week vacation than we did probably all week, because we're like, this is my last deadline. Like, I have to get all this stuff out. People are going to be waiting on me, and I don't want any of those emails to be there while I'm away. We work very, very productively and very focused. So those two things, long-winded, but Elizabeth, I'm totally with you. Okay, so Ed, I think this is you. Breathing is also associated. Okay, so yes, absolutely. And then somebody says, great tips. Awesome. And then Elizabeth says, March is Earth Hour and April is Earth Day. You're right. I was looking at all of it. I was looking at all of your minutes. You are absolutely right. So on April 28th, is going to be the week after Earth Day, everybody. So if anybody wants to be on my team for YQD Green to tree plant, it's a Sunday, let me know. Okay, so let's see what else. Ed says, at school, I studied for 20 minutes on and 10 minutes off. My break would be playing energetic hard rock or club music. I could also take a quick cold shower. In my 4 years at pharmacy school, I had only 5 answers incorrectly. Holy mackerel, Ed. That is awesome. I wish I would have known you in university, because I absolutely did not do that. And I was one of those people that was just like last night before an exam, cramming all night long, and then you don't remember anything. Maybe you remember enough to get through the exam, but you definitely don't remember anything later. This, I would imagine that you probably were able to retain a lot more. So fascinating. That's so cool. Okay, so this is really, really good. A couple questions that I want to find out then from you guys. So, Elizabeth, do you know anybody other than me? Actually, you can use me as an example. Do you find it, how do you find it? I'll just leave it open-ended. How do you find it working with me? Because we've worked together on things, in meetings. How do you find it to work with somebody that has ADHD? Or do you have any kind of experience with other people that have ADHD? I'm really, really curious, because I know that I've seen people that have it more. I used to say have it worse than me, but actually I think all it is, and it's no judgment, but in my mind, the hyperactivity part of it was oh gosh, that must be so draining for the person that's going through it to just always be on, I guess. So I always thought that was worse, but now I'm just we all have it. And not we all have it, but all of us that have ADHD, it doesn't matter if you have the hyperactive or just the inability to focus or a combination of the two. It's really difficult. And I can only imagine the person that doesn't have that neurodivergent kind of way of being, that it's probably also frustrating for them. So I'd be really curious. Ed says, I got kicked out of my first year. It took me time to find out what works. Yeah, it took me my entire university career and I still didn't figure out what works. I mean, I did graduate. I graduated with honors. Lord knows how, I don't know. Okay, so sleep. Do you find, Ed, or anybody else that's listening, because I do see that there's quite a few of you guys that are watching. Do you guys find that sleep affects your focus, even if you don't have ADHD? Here's the other thing, guys. This podcast is not going to be all about ADHD. I promise you. It just so happens that, in the first show when I was talking about it, I did share that I do have ADHD. And so somebody asked me, how did I self-diagnose? And so if I get questions from you guys, that may prompt the next episode, right? Like if somebody, the way that I look at it is if somebody has a question, chances are there's more people that are listening that also have a question. So that's what I'll be doing. One of my friends asked me, like, how are you going to pick, what your topics are? And like, do you have like a full schedule of like what you're going to talk about? And although I do have many topics that I want to talk about and that I can fill us up for probably the next 5 years, I am going to be like aware of how our conversations go and what I think would naturally go to the next topic, and then if not, I'll just do like I do with my random conversations with my friends, just bring up a topic and then just have some fun with it. But that's how I think we're going to do it. So Elizabeth says, I don't think you have it. You're so energized and love working with you because of it. That's awesome. I absolutely do have it. I 100%. I would be very, very, very surprised if I'll tell you an example. So there's it's a free study or a free questionnaire kind of thing. It's, I think it's like join.talkwithfrida.com, and it's a counseling program, I guess, online. And so you can do a quiz to see, if you have ADHD or if it may be worthwhile for you to do or to have help with this Frida. And so I did the test and it was like, you will absolutely benefit from working with Frida.com. So then I was like, would it even matter what I answered? Like, even if I said no to everything, would they still be like, you would benefit by working with, right? Like I thought maybe it was just like a tap into something and then like everybody feels like they need it. It was not the case. I probably did it like 6 times, one with my answers and then one with like all no's. They said, no, you're not a candidate. All maybes or all sometimes. And it was like, no, you're not a candidate. And, switched it up. No, you're not a candidate. Mine? Absolutely. So I do think that I have it, but I will tell you, I think I've had it for a very long time and I've used a lot of tools unknowingly to be able to help me. So I said in the first episode, and Ed and I were talking about that too, is that there's a solutions oriented kind of characteristic of a lot of people that have ADHD because we weren't, especially our age, we didn't have that diagnosis the way that they do now. And so we didn't know what was going on, but we just knew it took a little bit longer for us to focus, or it took us a little bit longer to figure things out. And so we had to put things in place. So that's why I know about the Google Keep. That's why I have all of these like little insider tips, is because I needed to in order for me to be able to have a business and do all of the things, So, but I appreciate you, Elizabeth. That's very, very nice. So Ed says, lack of sleep made my focus worse and very restless. Yes. Okay. Did you see my face? You guys will always know what I'm thinking. So when I first read that, I thought it was going to say that it helped your focus. And I was like, what? I do not believe that. Yes, it absolutely makes the focus worse. And here's the thing. I think I might have said this also last night, is that what's interesting is that, at least for me, it took me longer to do a lot of the activities that I was working on. And so, I had to double check and triple check my work, and it would take me longer, and I didn't want to use that time at work. So I would just spend more hours at the computer, which meant I wasn't going to bed. And I was like, that's okay. I can just use these hours. And the hours that I took were from my sleep. And so it was like really counterintuitive, literally for decades, that I would think that I'm thriving on 4 to 6 hours of sleep. If I got 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I was like, that was a solid 4. I'm good. Like no, it was awful. And I didn't know, but my focus was like way worse. And so that also is why it took me longer to do the things. Now I realize I need to get my sleep. And if I have like a really big day ahead of me that like there's I'm going to use a lot of brain power and I'm going to need a lot of focus, my sleep is number one. Then exercise is number two. But if I can only get one of those things because I'm just running out of hours, I need to get my sleep. And I used to think that I could just like cut my sleep so I can get my exercise. It's just not the case. I need to get my sleep. And then the exercise, I like to do 5 or 6 miles in the morning. I don't need it. I can do like 15 minutes of just getting outside in the fresh air, and that helps me. So yeah, the sleep is really, really fascinating piece for me. Ed says, I was diagnosed with ADHD around the age of 11 or 12. I was put on an amphetamine for weight loss. I did not lose weight, but my behavior in class, focus, and grades drastically improved. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So you've been dealing with it for a long time. I'd be very curious. Like I want to have a big conversation with my mom and see what she saw in me as a kid. I made some examples last night in the show about like how I showed up in like high school and grade school that I was like, I think that was probably ADHD. That was probably me trying to like figure it out. But again, who knows? I don't know. And it doesn't really matter. Like, if you guys have watched the show, The First Day Pod, when I used to do that with Mike, one of my big things is I really don't care about the label. And like, quite frankly, don't label me. And I don't want to label myself. So that's kind of why I didn't want to diagnose myself. Like I didn't want to actually go to a doctor and get a diagnosis because I don't want to get in my head about having something that's going to limit me. I just kind of like to know that like, yeah, I probably have it. And so let me just experiment. Like I take life as an experiment and just playing around with, let's see if this works. Let's see what happens. And it's really exciting when you look at life that way, because then you're not really like locked into something, you know, I hope this works, or this, I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life. You don't have to do anything for the rest of your life. So taking it just like kind of 1 month at a time, or 1 week at a time, or even 1 day at a time, and just figuring out, hey, I heard this thing on the show. I'm going to try it and see. But I would recommend that if you take anything from the show, again, a disclaimer, this is just a friendly chat. So there's no medical advice, there's no psychological advice, there's no nothing. I highly recommend that if you feel like you need to see a doctor, go see a doctor. I highly recommend that if you feel like you need to speak to a professional in counseling or therapy, that you do go. They are fabulous and can see things that you can't see. So this show does not take, the place of those professionals. But if you do hear things in this show that you want to try, I would say try them more than once, because sometimes it might just be you didn't get sleep last night. And so no matter what you try tonight or today, it's going to be hard. So I would try whatever you hear that you think like deep down, you're like, that might work for me. I'm going to test it out. And then test it out for at least a week, but I would say try it for a month and see how you react. So Ed says, I also had my best sleep on that drug. I stopped taking it because the stuff that happened to me at night. I could never explain this to my family. Oh, so you slept deeper when you were on it. Okay. That makes sense. So would you go on it now? Like, do you think it would be helpful for you to go on it now? That drug? Am I missing something? I'd be curious about that. But yes, I understand. So yeah, I have never been on anything for the ADHD. And I was talking to Mike about it last night, and I was like, I think this show is going to be really cool because I'm going to be able to experiment even more and share it with you guys. And then you guys are going to share what's working for you with me. And I think it's going to be really, really beneficial. I'm hoping anyway for all of us. So I also want to know, like, what other topics do you guys want to talk about in the future? I know that I want to talk about, and we'll probably talk about it next week. I do want to talk about the happy, how we had the Hello Happy group and the 5 areas that we can look for happy moments in our day. I do think I want to do a whole episode on that. So I think that'll be next week, unless through the conversation we come up with something else, or whatever. I also wanted to share with you guys, yes. And then the surprise, I shared with you guys yesterday, but again, it didn't really share everywhere, so I don't know how many people are going to listen to that episode. So I did want to share with you that the Patreon, we already have a couple of you guys. Ed, you're one of them, so thank you so much. That is a member of the Friendly Circle, and I am so excited about this. So there's 3 tiers that you can be a member of, but for the rest of January and then for February, just join at tier 1, okay? I want you to join at tier 1, and then I am going to give everybody tier 3 benefits. So that means that we're going to do a book club, we're going to do a mastermind where we're going to set our goals and set ourselves up for success. We're going to have all of these things that are going to be going on. And I want to give that to you guys because you guys are the beginning stages of the Friendly Show. And I'm so, so grateful for you guys being here and testing it out and then being here every week. Like, this is already our 2nd week in, and I just love the conversation. So, and I love the eyeballs. Even if you guys are nervous or you don't want to be a part of the show in the comments, I love that you're watching. So thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's see here. We have got Ed says, I tried it a few years ago. Okay, so that other drug, it helped in many areas, focus and sleep, but the effect did not last all day. The crash was unbearable. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if there's something else that you can do, if there was something else you'd be able to experiment with, because if your focus and your sleep was helpful, again, not a doctor, obviously. I mean, and you know, with the drugs, but would it have been like, maybe like you were having caffeine too early on the drug and you needed to like let the drug kind of wear off maybe a little bit longer, kind of like the adenosine has to get out of your body for the 90 minutes. Like, maybe was there something there that then maybe, since you know that the coffee helps you, that would be able to like pick you back up so then you wouldn't be crashing? I don't know. I mean, Ed, you know me. This is the way that I talk to all my friends. But that's what I want you guys to know too. Even if you are watching this show for the very first time, you never met me before, welcome to the Friendly Show. I am your friend, Lee, and I like friend people immediately when I meet them. People love sharing everything with me, and I give it to you straight. So like, if I'm confused about something that you say, I'm going to ask for clarity. And if I have any kind of advice, I know that I'm supposed to say, would you like advice on that? Or I have some thoughts on that. Would you like to hear? I'm not good at that. That's why I will not be a therapist, and I'm not really a great coach. I shouldn't say that. I'm actually a really good coach, but I'm not a coach the way that people expect me to be, because I don't do the whole like tiptoeing around things. So I will just be speaking up. So hopefully you guys like that. I mean, you guys are still here, so obviously you do. And I always mean it. It does 100% come from a good place, because I just want to help everybody. And I don't want you to take any of my advice, any of it, at face value. I don't want you to just look at it and be like, oh, well, she said it, I'm going to do it. I just want you to hear it. It's another idea, and my idea might spark another idea in your head that you didn't think of that is actually the better idea, you know? Anyway, that was a little rant. Let's go on over here. I think this is probably Ed as well. And it says, people with ADD and ADHD have a part of the brain that is understimulated. As such, prescribed amphetamines like Ritalin stimulate that part of the brain, leading to a more normalized way of thinking. Oh, that makes sense. Have a part of the brain that is understimulated. Is that because I'm learning more about dopamine? Like, I understood dopamine to be like the feel-good hormone, but what I didn't realize is how much that like really affects a lot of the way that we show up and the way that we behave. Dopamine is such an important hormone that we have, or receptor. Is it I really get foggy with all of that, but dopamine is really, really powerful. And so is that part of that whole thing right there? Ed also says, tried so much, less caffeine, dose the med twice a day, change timing, change the dose. It affected my suicidal ideation. This was me. Of course, it can help others. Okay. So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. If it's affecting your ideation, then we're just not even going to bother with that one. Then we'll just figure out other things. Oh, that's me, Lori. Lori's here. Hey, Lori. Okay, so when you said that's me, is that the ADHD, ADD stimulant conversation up at the top? Was that you? Or is ADHD you? Curious. And then Ed says, yes, dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Yes. Okay. Not a receptor. Okay, so I'm really excited. Like, here's the thing that I really learn a lot. Like I've been learning a lot about this, but I have a hard time remembering how to explain it to people. So I really, I need to take what I'm realizing how I learn is I need to write it down. I need to hear it. I need to see it. I need all three of those kinds of things. So if you saw how I prep for the podcast that I did yesterday that actually gave you guys information, there's a lot that goes into it, at least for me. I hope that you guys are getting value from these. Even though it takes me a little bit longer than the average bear to put it all together. Okay, so I cannot explain medically. It's from working on the criminal justice field for so many years. Yes, okay, so that's lore. Okay. No, that totally makes sense. And then, yes, so Lori is saying that was her up there. Okay, so hey, Laura, I'm really glad you're here. So Lori's my cousin, and Lori told me that, yes, she does think that I have it. And I mean, she would know. She's seen me even growing up. Laura, do you think me growing up, do you think I've had it for a long time? Or is it just more of an adult thing now? Isn't that funny that I'm going to ask you instead of asking myself? I do think I've struggled with it for a long time, but I feel like, and through my research, what I've realized is that if you weren't diagnosed as a kid, it's possible that you've had the kind of a characteristic, you'd be able to have it and you'd have moments of it, but your situation or your environment could shift that it kind of induces it. And so I think too, that could potentially be it. As you become an adult, you have a lot more responsibilities. There's a lot more that you're juggling, and you kind of hit a threshold that you're just like, oh, I can't really take that all in now. And it kind of just jars you in the way that you're able to kind of focus on things. So that also happens, which is just fascinating. I love life. There's so much to know. Okay, so I certainly have it too. This must be lore, and likely we've had it for a long time. It's a familiar thing. Yes, it is. And that's what I said yesterday on the show. I was like, it's funny because when they did say, when I was looking to see kind of how it starts or where it comes from, there is a genetic component to it. I also do highly recommend, or not recommend, but I do believe that it also has to do with our environment and how we're showing up for ourselves. So increased sugar, lack of sleep, lack of water, being dehydrated, not exercising, all of these things, I think it all absolutely plays into it. But there is a genetic component. And what I find funny is that's another reason why it's probably hard to diagnose, because we're oh, it's not, we don't have ADHD. It's just our family. We're just we're the Zammets, That's my mom's maiden name, and that's the side that I know that we're all we just tease that it's a Maltese thing, or that it's just a family thing. We're just all like that. But it could just be that it's genetic. So it's not necessarily our family, but that we all have it. It's so funny. TMI. Everybody's getting to know everything now. Ed says, whatever you have, whatever you were, has made you the caring, compassionate, loving you. So why question it? Yes, thank you. You are so sweet. And yeah, you know what? I wouldn't want to change it. And the only reason why I'm questioning it, and the only reason why I am labeling it and talking about it, well, not the only reason, there's a couple reasons. One, is because I want to know all the tricks. I want to know all of the ADHD hacks. I want to know all the life hacks. I want to know all the happiness hacks. Like, this podcast is also going to be like a very self-serving kind of thing, because I love having conversations with people that are just like, what's your best kept secret about like how you find happiness? Or what's your best kept secret about like, you know, how you gain more energy? How do you do all these things? So that's the only reason why I want to have, not the only reason, there's a couple of reasons that I want to have that, is so we can be sharing all these resources, tools, and we can just become better. And not better like we're bad right now, but just like elevate the way that we're living, right? Like I honestly believe that I'm going to be like 95 and I'm going to be like, there's got to be another hack for me just to get a little bit something. And that's what makes life exciting. If I was like at my top of my game in every aspect of my life, like, that's boring. So there's that. I want to learn all these things and I want to experiment with them. And I want to just like, I'm always curious. I have that like childlike, like curiosity all the time. And then I also want to let everybody know, like, the whole point of this show is for all of us to feel like we have a friendly circle that we can come to with whatever's going on in our life, and that we can find solutions and we can work together, and that we don't feel alone. There are so many studies that are showing that like people were feeling alone before COVID, right? But COVID exacerbated it, and now like we're out of it, but that part isn't gone, where we still feel like we're alone. We still feel like we can't connect. And that's what I want to change. I really want, like, we all say that we need to, you know, we need to connect and we need to have genuine relationships. And we all say that, but we're not doing anything. I mean, maybe you are. And if you are, tell me what you're doing, please. But I think we need more of it. And I think it can be done online. I think being in person is really important. There's nothing that really matches it by being in person, but the next best thing is being online, you know? And so that's what I really want to be here. So that's why I label it. That's why I question it, because I want to learn from it. And I want other people to know that, like, oh, okay, yeah, she's got it, I got it, great. Like, let's work on this together, kind of thing. So the next one is genetics for us. And you're right about things such as coffee, etc. Yes, absolutely, Laura. And then Cam is here. Hello, Cam. Are you feeling okay? You had a fender bender, right? And again, that's the other thing, you guys. I'm going to be really bad. Like, if there's something you definitely don't want me sharing, but quite frankly, if I saw it online, then it's kind of fair game. I have a hard time with that. But like, if people know, don't tell me other people's secrets, because I can't keep them. I'll always be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? So are you okay, Cam? I think you said it was just a fender bender, like just car trouble, not people trouble, right? Let me know. But he agrees with Ed. So exactly, Ed, it has been a curse and a blessing. Yes. Good. Okay. Good. I'm just looking to see if I have anything else. Okay, so Ed says, it is great to be the best version of ourselves. Absolutely. Curiosity and asking questions is amazing. It is dangerous to look back. That was my point. Okay, yes. That is fine. Yes. But also looking, like, it is dangerous. It's dangerous to look back and to keep staring backward. So the way that I kind of think about it, and this is probably, I don't know, I'm just kind of making it up, but it's kind of the way that I think. You know, the saying that they have, like, that the windshield is so much bigger than the rear view mirror because, you know, you need to be like always looking forward. But the rear view mirror is still there because it is still important to see what's in back of you. But if we keep staring at that rear view mirror, then we're going to lose track of what's happening in front of us. And that's where it becomes dangerous. But doing a quick glance just to make sure that we're okay and we're on track, I think is okay. However, you know you, and if you don't ever want to look back there, don't look back there. That's okay. I mean, friend to friend. Therapist might say something different, but we're just friends. Okay. Man, stop being a nerd. Okay. Yes, blessing and a curse. We just did that one. Best version of yourself. And Cam says, yes, I'm fine. The car is a bit on the side, but I have issues. Thanks for asking. Oh, okay. Well, fingers crossed. And I hope that the car can get fixed relatively inexpensively for you. What a bummer. Gosh. Yeah, it was awful. I was walking this morning and it was just like a sheet of ice. It was unbelievable. And it didn't even look like it was literally just like little wet spots. And it was just like awful. Cam says, that did not come out correct. That's okay. Did I kind of get it? I think I kind of got it. I mean, if you want to correct it, you can go and correct it, but I think I got it. I'm glad to know that you're okay and that the car is just not great on the side, just on the side, right? So, okay, you guys, it's so funny. Is everything so funny, Leanne? Yes, possibly. So I was talking to my girlfriend on my walk this morning and I said, yeah, tonight's going to be like, that's always going to be my favorite one is Wednesday nights because it's audience participation. And she goes, what are you going to do if nobody shows up? And I was like, that didn't even cross my mind. I was like, I guess I'll just talk to myself, and I guess it'll be a short episode, but I was like, that doesn't even cross my mind, because I really hope that there's going to be, for me, if there's one of you guys that are here, then it's like throwing a party and just one person comes. There's a lot of games and a lot of things and a lot of conversation that we can have, just you and I. So as long as there's always just one person here on Wednesday nights, that's all I care about. But if there's more of you guys that are here, I think that's going to be super fun. So it is like a party. It's like a big conversation. And if there's side conversations that are happening inside of the chat, that is also okay. Mind you, it might be confusing for me because I may bring up your chat in there. So you might not want to do it while we're live. You can come back and reply later. Because just a warning, as you see, I usually just bring the comments right up. Okay. But I love that you guys are so talkative. That's awesome. Okay. So Cam says, I don't have issues. Okay. So the car has issues. That's what I assumed. But then I was like, Cam, you do have issues. We all do. I love you, man. Okay, and then Ed says, it is helpful to know where you come from. If you don't learn from history, you are doomed to repeat it. Amen. Just be careful of morbid reflection. Being present is where life is. What? Yes, absolutely. 100%. Okay, so Ed also says, I have multiple personalities, so I'm a party of 4. I'm getting there too, man. I think it's so funny. Oh my gosh, somebody make me a shirt that says, it's so funny. But I think that, I have quite a few different personalities, and I can, devil's advocate. I'm that way with my friends, all the time. They know that I could be totally, okay, definitely go do this thing. And then they say, yeah, okay, I'm going to go do it. And then I was like, did you think about? And then it's the opposite. I do the same thing with me, literally going back and forth. And I don't think that's a problem, is it? Who knows? Okay, so yes, being present is where life is all about. Also, I'm just going to throw this out here with the friendly circle. Ed is going to be coming to town. It's like Santa Claus. Ed's coming. Okay, anyway. Ed's going to be coming to town, just FYI, on Family Day weekend, and I want to think about something fun that, he's also a part of our book club, and I want to get a few of us together. And so if you're listening to this and you're a part of the Friendly Circle now, can you think of anything fun to do in Windsor that we could all do that's doesn't have to be super active. I like active things, but I don't know. Can you help me with that? I'd really like you to. And then you can come and participate and we can all meet in person. It is going to be February. The weather might be garbage, but the conversation will be really cool. So let's kind of figure something out that we can do maybe on Saturday, whatever that weekend is. Let's see. And it says, you'll never do a show alone. That's right. I will bring my buddies with me. And then, oh man, is that Cam? Cam, is that you? Hockey tournament? Boo. And then Ed says, skating on the Detroit River. Quite possibly. Or swimming. I mean, it could be 70 degrees by then. Like with the crazy weather that we've been having, we'll have to see. So anyway, I just thought I would throw that out there. I wasn't even planning on that, but that's where my brain goes. So, yeah, Cam, that's a bummer. Okay, well, I hope you win, but if you don't win and you get done early, let me know and we can all get together. He is going home Monday morning, so it will have to be on the weekend at some point. So we'll have to figure something out. And is it out of town, Cam? Let me know. Anyway, my girlfriend did say that like this show is confusing to listen to on the audio, and I do agree. I think this will be. So like I said in the beginning, if you're listening to it in the audio and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's too much, I can't even follow it, do yourself a favor, come and watch it live on Wednesday nights, and then watch the others or listen to the other episode. Actually, I'll start labeling it on the podcast, which one is kind of audience, like live. I'll come up with something that you'll know when you're looking through the Spotify or Google Podcast or wherever you're listening to it, that you can like quickly look at it and say, oh, that's going to be the one that's like back and forth. I'd rather get this one that has a little bit more information. And Cam says that's where we can get together. Oh, at the tournament? Sure. Where's the tournament at? I think it's in Michigan. Oh, well, get us the information. Who knows? Maybe we'll come support you if it's not too far. Michigan is really a big state. Not as big as Texas, but it's a big state. So it could be 20 minutes away or it could be 5 hours away. So let us know. All right, you guys, this was so much fun. I'm going to definitely try to keep all of the podcasts between 45 minutes and an hour. So we are almost there. So I think we're going to start wrapping up, and this is going to be, what do they call it? Is it an Irish goodbye? Is that what it's called? When you're like, you say that you're going to end or you say that you're going to leave, and then like an hour later, you're still saying goodbye to everybody. I can't remember what it is, but I definitely am that person, and I can see that on this episode. Oh, wait. Cam, you're not playing the hockey tournament? Oh. Who's playing? Oh, your kid? Is your kid playing? Who's playing? Okay, so now I'm confused. Okay, so let me know. And also figure out where your son is playing. Okay. Yeah, so your kid's playing. Okay. Well, then find out where it is, and maybe we can all just like go and see your son play and like, I don't know, play games in the stadium or something. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Welcome to the friendly show. Welcome to my living room. I love you guys so much. This has been a lot of fun. Hello to everybody that is watching but not commenting. That's totally okay, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Elizabeth, Ed, Cam, Laura, everybody that was here and commenting. I love you guys. That was so much fun. And I will see you definitely next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And potentially we're going to figure it out. I don't know. It'll be somewhere between now and then. There'll be another episode. All right. Love you guys. Bye.